In this video, I am being guided to talk about the drum, our internal drum, living by our internal drum, breathing intentionally by our internal drum. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hi and welcome to Oaklaw Door. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Claire Attio. For those that are returning subscribers, thank you. And this video was inspired. I was inspired when I was meditating, as I do for these videos. Okay, what do I talk about? What do you want me to say? Am I going to channel? Because it all comes in all different ways. And for this one, they wanted me to pull a card, and the card that I pulled was a thunder drum. And when I meditated with the thunder drum, it was very much, yes, we are accustomed to hearing the phrase, live by the beat of your own drum. But what Spirit was showing me was intentionally breathing in unison with the beat of our own drum. It's that infusion of the energies with the universe, with the natural world, with the cosmos, with God, that we are now being asked to take. Many of us have gone through the process where we've stepped into our personal power, our authority, or we are stepping into that authority and that personal power. When I was meditating, Thor came in a very big way, and it's interesting because most people, when you look at Norse mythology, Thor is seen with the hammer, and it can come across as very destructive. And yes, he was a force to be reckoned with, and he was known to stir everything up. As a Scorpion, I'm very familiar with that. Much of the transformation, much of our path is a Scorpion, and each sign has its own little pockets of specialities. But the Scorpion is one I know about because it's the path I walk. And we're very often, it takes us a long time to realize that we are actually a walking tower. People, and we can get dubbed. We can get dubbed as, oh, they're destroying that, or they're blowing that up, or they're being reactive. And it's not about reactive, it's about demolishing that doesn't truly function. And it can be and feel quite destructive at the time, but it's always for the betterment. It's not for destruction's sake. And I kind of have an affiliation with Thor because of that, because he gets a bad rap of being destructive, this destructive energy, and yet the destruction only occurred so that the new could be born. The part in Norse mythology with Thor that doesn't get recognized enough is he was also the keeper of the sacred groves. He was the anchor, as it were, bringing heaven to earth. And that is very much where we are in this new Aquarian era, that we are doing the inner work. We are changing our own inner perceptions of self. We are getting rid of and releasing and healing perceptions, beliefs, values, thoughts, ideas, programs that don't function for us. And we're in that expanse of not carrying that 10 of Wands or having that 10 of Swords in our backs, we're able to expand, we're able to take a breath. We're able to take a breath. We're able to make conscious, soul-aligned choices, decisions. And are we still learning, and do we still make mistakes, and do we still fall into old habits? Of course we do. It's a process. But we're consciously aware, and we are actively, positively taking steps to change that doesn't function and align ourselves with that it does. When you look at this card, you can see the light, you can see the lightning. And I love that, because that is pure divine energy coming down to earth. Now, if you have been consciously aware for the last 2 years or so, you will know that we have had many storms. And if you've been observant, if you've had the time to be observant, let's be honest, because it's not always about not wanting to be observant. Sometimes life can get a little bit hectic, and I know when you're on a healing journey, sometimes you can be so deep in your own hole, walking that dark side of yourself and exploring that dark side and making peace and taming the darkness within, that you haven't got the capacity to see what's going on around you. But if you have, you will have noticed with every great storm there is an even greater revelation of ish that has been going on in the world. Something came onto my spectrum last night, which is why I remembered that, because I was like, yes, it's starting to happen. The revelations, people, the sickness of humanity is being brought into the light. And yes, obviously you were going through the normal 3D programs of that, going through the judicial system and 3D punishment being applied, aka imprisonment and all that kind of thing. But there have been some very, very seedy aspects of humanity that have been in the dark for far too long, meaning that many, many, many innocents have suffered, and that is starting to be illuminated. And when I think of this card and when I think of that, I think of another soul. And I think this is the important thing that my team want to relay, because for every soul who starts to expand and consciously breathe in alignment with their drum, stepping into that personal power, stepping into that alignment, walking their North Node, bringing forth the immense knowledge of their ancestors and allowing divine light to channel through them, that anchors more light on the planet. And in that anchoring of more light, whether that person is actively involved in the illumination of the dark-ish of humanity, or they're involved in just anchoring that light. And I say that I don't want anybody to feel that is I don't want to diminish the power of that activity. We have this habit of always thinking that we're only being active when we're physically involved with a given situation. But there is much power and there is much positivity to be gained by doing that inner work, anchoring yourself, walking your north node, trying to understand and allowing natural flow, the natural fluidity to unfold within you. But as we're going through that process, we're also anchoring, we're anchoring light onto the planet, and that extra light adds to the illumination of the dark-ish of humanity that needed illuminating. And as each person, each time somebody hits that goal and somebody breathes in unison with their drum, there's a storm. There's a storm somewhere in the world, usually very close to where they are, a confirmation, a letting them know it's the universe saying, hey, you've done it, woohoo. And as that comes in, what we're finding is days, weeks later, there is a massive revelation of some very dark-ish. It's brought, to the light, it's illuminated. I don't want you to kind of, because I'm the first person to stay away from to say stay away from mainstream media, but if you have a curiosity to go, oh, I wonder, yeah, I thought that was happening, or oh, I wonder if that's happening around me, you know, maybe dip in, maybe ask your guides to show you this so that you can actually see it. I know I have been seeing it, my guides have been showing me, and it's very profound, it's very heartwarming and inspiring. I think that's the key, because it inspires you, because there are, as we make these changes and people don't understand the changes that we're making, that creates a lot of fear, and that fear you can end up with a lot of haters, and those haters love to hate. It's, you know, they're in a very bad space and they're deflecting from doing their own inner work, and they choose to hate on you, and it can be, if you allow it to, draining. It can be tiring. I'm not going to deny that it can be tiring, and this is where we need to use our discernment. This is where we need to know our energetic body. Are we feeling tired because it's a constant, it's like somebody nagging, it's like a nagging child that's pulling on your trousers the whole time, wanting to be picked up, and it's exhausting. There's a difference between that exhaustion and being drained. And if you're being drained, then you need to cut off. You need to cut those energetic cords that are allowing your energy to be drained. They can be cut with love. It's just making sure that you word your phrase in however you cut cords correctly, so that your energy is reserved. The energy that you give is from the overflow, so that you don't become drained. The truth of the matter is those haters are usually inspired, and that instigates a jealousy in them because they have disempowered themselves. If you give any information, if you have conversations, if you're in circles where you can actually talk about spirituality and you can talk about energy and you can talk about the dynamics of energy, then just drop into conversation there how people can call back their energy. Just by teaching somebody how to call back can be empowering enough for them. The switch flips within them. You don't have attachment to this, you just have a hope, a wish, a desire, but don't get attached to it. You cannot affect somebody else's free will. we've got a lot of changes coming on. We keep talking about these changes, and we will continue to talk about these changes. This is about looking after yourself. This is about making yourself a priority, and not in a sense of from a selfish aspect. And self-care is not selfish. If you still think that, then you've still got some healing to do. Self-care is self-love. Maintaining your energetic fields so that you are and feel completely restored, regenerated, rejuvenated, refreshed every day that you wake up is a very necessary and natural need of all of us. You're not here to persuade anybody, to change anybody's mind. You're here to walk your path, and if you're guided to share your experiences that others may find inspirational so that they start to walk their path. This is not about changing anybody's mind. This is about dissemination of information, dissemination of experiences, dissemination of how you've changed your life, how you've navigated a very challenging situation in a positive way, in the hope that it inspires others that are having challenges to try something new, to try something that is less destructive and more creative. When you look at the storm, when you look at storms, when you think about what a really heavy storm will do, it is very destructive. On the surface, it looks as though it's very destructive. And yet, from that destruction, there is new growth. Sometimes there is new building. Sometimes there is new communities that arise. Sometimes the community that was fractured and dysfunctional bonds because of the challenges that have arisen, because of the hardships that everybody is facing, they pull together. And we've seen this many, many times in humanity. We've seen it during the First World War, the Second World War. We've seen it during other wars. We've seen it through the tsunami. We've seen it so many times, how when humanity is faced with a massive challenge and destruction, we start to bond, we build the tribes, we start to create. Don't fear tower movements. Don't fear destruction that is there. It's very hard. I'm the first one to say there have been times in my life where there has been monumental destruction and I've been on my knees crying, going, why? And I defy anybody to say that they haven't been there, they haven't done that. If they haven't, then they've been extremely fortunate and blessed. Those destructions are brought into our lives so we can learn, we can grow, we can release and let go of what doesn't function for us, so that we make space for the new to come in. When I go out with my drum, or when I'm even indoors when it's raining, when I attune with my drum, when I journey with my drum, when I walk with my drum, I can't explain it. If you haven't a drum, then a saucepan, and just have a beat, make a beat, try it out, And the vibration, the sound with your heart, and then aligning it with your breath is very transformative. You transport to another place and a space that until you do it is very difficult to describe. But in that place, in that space, you connect with your soul self, or at least an aspect of your soul self. And when you start to intentionally breathe in alignment to that beat, so much natural magic can occur. So much can be released, can be healed, can be understood that wasn't understood before. The clarity can come forward. The pain can dissipate. The inspiration can just go ba-dum. Try it. If it's not for you, then it's not for you. But I am being guided by my team to say, just try it. What have you got to lose? And you've got so much more to gain. Take care. If you've liked the video, then hit that like button. If you've not yet subscribed, then subscribe. Until next time, beautiful souls. Bye bye.